Hey everyone, Ben here, and welcome back to a proper online sim race, my first for several weeks. We're on iRacing, we're at Road Atlanta in the fixed GT4 challenge, and as you've already seen, our first attempt at the race did not go very well, so we've come back for a second bite at the cherry. Hugely stacked grid, 29 cars, but we're struggling for pace a little bit. It seems I'm a little bit rusty. We're going to be lining up in 18th place on the grid in the McLaren GT4. If you enjoy the video, please do remember to leave a like, get subscribed to the channel for lots more that we've got coming up. But for now, let's get down to the formation lap. We're coming to the end for the rolling start, and we are just trying to keep our nose clean through what is a very tight and technical circuit. You can see a couple of cars coming together already up ahead before the green lights have even gone. But speaking of green lights, we are now underway. I've got a car on my inside. My tactic for this race start, particularly after our terrible experience last time out, is just to take things nice and easy. I'm not going to get side by side with cars if I can avoid it. It is such a difficult opening section of this lap. It is going to be a very crowded track. I don't want to make contact and end my race early. So you can see in these opening exchanges, I'm not putting up too stout a defence against the cars around me as they are trying to make up positions quick. It just doesn't make sense to me to risk everything on these opening set of corners. Not when there's another 15 minutes of racing still to go and anything can happen. Given where we started in this race, I'm really not sure what to expect. It is my first time racing on a proper online sim for quite a while, so I'm just looking for an enjoyable, safe race. If we can make up some positions, I've got another car down my inside. I'm losing positions at the moment, very wide into the second right-hander there. But yeah, if we can pick up some positions, then that will be a job well done as I'm getting back into my online racing. I absolutely adore this circuit, by the way. It's the first time I've raced on it properly. It's got such an exciting and challenging couple of sections to it. This is another one coming towards the end of the lap here. Heavy braking into the chicane. Amazed not to see cars coming together here on lap one, although you can see a little bit of elbows out up ahead. Very difficult corner here over the crest where you've got to keep the throttle pinned for maximum momentum and then try and stay flat through this final corner. You can see I had to just modulate the throttle a little bit because the traffic was concertinaing together up ahead. So there's the end of our first lap here. We're getting held up just a little bit by Kazuki up ahead. I've now got Letelier coming down my inside. I'm going to let him go because, again, I don't want contact. There is contact up ahead as Letelier puts Kazuki round, and that's exactly the sort of thing I was hoping to avoid in these opening couple of laps. We've gotten away with it. Kazuki not so lucky, and that will be his race ruined because he'll be sent all the way to the back of the grid. I don't think there was anything malicious in it from Letelier, but quite an important mistake as far as Kazuki's concerned. Here's a replay of that from Letelier's on board. You can see he's down my inside and then he just leaves his nose in. He'd not afforded space on the inside, maybe even a 50-50 one on that incident. But either way, we've managed to stay safe. We rejoin at the beginning of the next lap and you can see the traffic up ahead still very tightly packed together, and there's a car off to the left hand side. That looks like it's Fred Wilson. He's gone around and into the barrier. That will be big damage for Wilson there, and again, race ruined. Less than a fifth of the way in as we get right up on the curbs on the exit. The secret to this track is to try and carry as much speed as you can through the S's, maximise the width of the track and get right up on those curbs, but not to go too far. But we've rejoined at the end of the same lap. There's more carnage up ahead now. We're starting to see drivers come together. There was a car off to my left and off to my right there. We'll have to take a look back on the replay to see exactly what played out there, but for the time being, we've got a run on Massoff up ahead of us here as we're down his inside, down the start finish straight. That will be another position gained. We've gone from being down in 20th now up into 16th, so we're starting to make progress as drivers come together up ahead. More close racing up the road here as we get heavy on the brakes into third gear. A car's gone round. That's Max Lee. He's now out of the reckoning as well, and we are now just trying to close in on the pack of three cars up ahead. Araujo, Letelier and Trujillo up ahead. Trujillo at the head of the pack, and he's managed to clip a bit of curb and he's gone round very close to collecting two cars, and now we've got the run on Rafael Araujo up ahead of us as well, and that is going to be us well up towards the top 10 now as we've gained a huge number of places in just a short section of track. Here then is the first of those incidents as he makes a little bit of contact there, the green portion. That is enough to spear him into the wall, and that was the first position that we made up. Here's the carnage down at the chicane towards the end of the lap. The cars up ahead of that pack just getting together, and as soon as they drift into the racing line, very little room for manoeuvre for those cars following behind. And once again then, towards the start of the next lap, just catching a little bit of the curb, maybe a bit of contact there between the two drivers, and Lee is round, and that is his race ruined. And then finally, Trio coming through the very fast section of track here as you try to keep the throttle down as much as you can, just losing the car, the Mercedes, into a half spin. Oh, and a big bit of contact as well, as once more drivers struggling to avoid the carnage up ahead. Before we recut to the live action, look at the McLaren here around the outside. This is a driver called Zamora. He gets up onto the grass, he's going to spear across the track, and he's going to be straight into the wall. That is going to gift me another position. So we rejoin the live action with about 6 minutes left of this race to go. We're up in 11th position. Following Letelier still, we've been behind him since the opening lap of the race, and with Fernando Zamora having recovered from that accident, he had been running deep in the top 10, now following on behind me as we come through the left-hander, but we've suffered from a bit of understeer there, and that's going to give Zamora the chance to get back past me. Just a small mistake, managed to keep it out of the gravel, but I can't really defend because Zamora carrying way more pace than me then through that section of corners. But remember, he will be carrying damage, so despite the fact we're in identical machinery, I might well have a speed advantage against him, particularly down the straights, because he should be carrying some pretty hefty aerodynamic damage there. As we fast forward to the next lap, and we're just trying to challenge him into T1, I very nearly outbrake myself and run wide and make the same mistake that he did just a few laps earlier as we're trying to pile the pressure on. And Letelier has not escaped down the road either, so there is a top 10 finish on for me here, which, given we were running down in 20th position at the start, look at that, another car off to the right hand side. That's Mikasel, he's off into the barrier as well, and so that is going to put me back up into 11th position. So a top 10 finish very definitely on here. I've got Craig Simpson 0.2 seconds behind me, and then Zamora just a few tenths up the road. So this at the moment is a four-way battle for the top 10 as we come through the double right-hander here. Try and prioritise a good exit onto the very long back straight. We're just about still within track boundaries there as we rode right up onto the curb, but look at the pace I've got on exit against Zamora here. We're closing in on his rear wing as we come blasting down this back straight. There must be a bit of damage contributing to this. We're going to peel to the inside to try and get this move done into the chicane, but this is going to be pretty tricky. We're a little bit earlier on the brakes, but I need to make the apex, give him space on the outside. He's still side by side with me, but I'm going to get the better traction on exit and resume the racing line, and that is a fantastic overtake on Zamora to reclaim that position and get myself up into the top 10. Let's take a look back at it on the replay here. Very close side by side, heading into the braking zone. I've got to get on the brakes a little bit earlier because I can't afford to drift wide and into him. I know we're going to be running side by side through the corner, and in the end it gives me the outside line anyway, which is better for traction in order to hold the position on exit. We rejoin then just a lap and a half later. We're getting towards the very end of the race now. There's probably a lap and a half left, and once again Zamora is quicker through that final section of the S's and onto this straightaway here. I'm going to have to defend into the right-hander. He's around my outside. I have to keep the car nice and tight to the apex. He's still got a nose alongside me there. And look at that, he's going to try the switchback down the inside as I'm slightly deep into the second right-hander. He will definitely have a better exit from the corner than me, but once again, I'm hoping that my top speed is just a little bit higher because of that shunt that he had earlier on in the race. Zamora behind me, still trying to close in as well. This is a three-way battle for 10th position. I'm going to hold the inside line still and try and defend in much the same way that I was able to claim the position from Zamora last time around. He's ahead of us on track at the moment, but I get the racing line on the exit, and once more that benefits me hugely coming down the hill then and into the final corner of this penultimate lap, because we've got the white flag out now. So there's one more racing lap for me to try and hold on to this 10th position before the checkered flag. It's going to be very, very tight because I've got Zamora and Simpson closing in on me from behind. But look in the rear view, it looks like Zamora's gone, just as Wilson up ahead, a lap driver, was spinning off to the right hand side. Zamora off track, and that means Simpson is now the car behind me. Zamora looks like he's rejoined, but he's a good second and a half back, so maybe I'm going to have a little bit of breathing space now towards the end of this race as we come through the left-hander for the final time. Really tricky section of corners that, and we've got Craig Simpson behind me just 0.4 seconds back. This is going to be tense towards the end of this race. I'm beginning to struggle a little bit on tyres, or maybe I'm just feeling the pressure as we get the car slowed down into second gear, quickly back up into third gear. Look at how close Simpson is in the rear view. 0.2 seconds. He's going to be well within my slipstream here. I've got to hope that I can keep the Mercedes behind me. It looks like Zamora's dropped a little bit further back and is actually coming back under pressure himself. So this is now a two-way battle for the top 10. As we come down into the braking zone, into the chicane for the final time, get my braking spotted just about, very nearly, run it in too deep. But that's going to be enough to keep Simpson behind me as long as I don't make a mistake through this final right-hand kink over the crest of the hill and through the final corner. What a race, hugely enjoyable, and to get a top 10 finish out of that, despite a poor qualifying and actually moving back several positions on the opening lap, I'm really pleased with it. There's the final classifications then. Simpson coming in behind me, then Zamora ended up taking 12th position. Just a hugely enjoyable race. What a fantastic combination. Love these GT4s, a stacked grid, lots of different manufacturers on the grid, and what a circuit. Really excellent fun. If you've got the time to try this combination out, I really recommend it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, leave a like, get subscribed to the channel for lots more online sim racing, and I will see you on the next one.